Welcome back to Wild in Nature for another thrilling installment of our series on fascinating animal behaviors. Yep, it's time for part 3, and let me tell you, we've got some seriously wild stuff lined up for you today. So without further ado, let's get started. Fainting goats. The quirky, yet utterly fascinating creatures that have captured the curiosity of animal lovers around the world, also known as myotonic goats or Tennessee fainting goats. You might be scratching your head and wondering, what's up with these goats? Well, let me tell you, they've got a unique and rather amusing trait known as myotonia congenita. Essentially, when they're startled or feel threatened, their muscles tense up involuntarily, causing them to stiffen and sometimes fall over. It's like their bodies hit the freeze button in response to perceived danger. But don't worry, these fainting spells are harmless and temporary. Once the goats realize there's no real danger, they quickly recover and go about their business as if nothing happened. It's a bit like watching a slapstick comedy routine unfold in the pasture. Believe it or not, this peculiar behavior has a practical purpose. Back in the day, fainting goats were used as living alarm systems for livestock. Their sudden collapse would startle predators or thieves, giving the rest of the herd a chance to escape to safety. Talk about using a fainting spell to outsmart potential threats. But aside from their comedic antics, fainting goats are beloved for their friendly and docile nature. They make wonderful pets and are often kept for their milk, meat, or simply as delightful companions. Plus, their endearing habit of fainting adds an extra layer of charm to these already adorable creatures. Cuckoo chick trickery. A wild tale of deception and survival straight out of nature's playbook. Now imagine you've got a cozy little nest, home to a clutch of eggs lovingly cared for by a devoted bird parent. Everything seems peachy until an unexpected guest arrives, a cuckoo chick. But what's the big deal? Just a new chick in the nest, no problem. But here's where it gets interesting. Cuckoos are notorious tricksters. Instead of building their own nests, they lay their eggs in the nests of other bird species and rely on some sneaky tactics to get their chicks raised without lifting a feather themselves. So what's the cuckoo chick's master plan? Well, it's all about timing and deception. Once the unsuspecting host parents have laid their own eggs, the cuckoo swoops in and lays its egg in the nest, often mimicking the appearance of the host's eggs to perfection. Cuckoo chicks are born with an innate ability to mimic the begging calls of their host chicks. So when feeding time rolls around, they use their vocal talents to trick the host parents into feeding them instead of their own offspring. It's like a clever little con game right there in the nest. And get this, cuckoo chicks are often bigger and more demanding than their host siblings, which means they can outcompete them for food and attention. It's survival of the sneakiest, and cuckoo chicks are masters of the game. But don't worry, host parents aren't completely clueless. Some species have evolved strategies to detect and reject cuckoo eggs from their nests, like building intricate patterns of speckles on their eggs to make them easier to spot. It's like they've got their own secret code to outsmart the cuckoo con artists. Male seahorse pregnancy. Imagine you're swimming through a vibrant coral reef and you spot a group of seahorses. They might look a bit like whimsical underwater horses with their curly tails and elongated snouts. But there's a surprise hiding in those pouches on the male's bellies. That's right, those are baby bumps. Male seahorses are the real MVPs of the ocean when it comes to pregnancy. Forget what you learned in biology class about mama bears and penguins. In the seahorse world, it's the dads who take on the role of pregnancy and childbirth. So how does it all work? You see, when it's time to start a family, female seahorses transfer their eggs into a special pouch on the male's belly. That's right, the dad-to-be carries the eggs around in his pouch, just like a kangaroo carries its joey in a pouch. But here's where it gets really wild. Once the eggs are safely tucked away, the male seahorse fertilizes them and carries them to term. He's basically a walking, swimming nursery. And when it's time for the big moment, the male goes into labor, giving birth to dozens, sometimes even hundreds of tiny baby seahorses. Now, if that doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what will. Male seahorses are like the ultimate super dads of the sea, taking on the responsibilities of pregnancy and childbirth with grace and style. And the fun doesn't stop there. Once the babies are born, they're on their own in the big ocean world. It's like a tiny underwater adventure for each little seahorse, with plenty of obstacles and surprises along the way. So the next time you see a male seahorse proudly showing off his baby bump, Give him a little salute for being nature's very own Mr. Mom. It's a wild world out there, and male seahorses are proof that sometimes the most unexpected superheroes come in the tiniest packages. Caterpillar pheromone mimicry. Nature's sneaky strategy that's straight out of a spy movie. Some clever caterpillars have the superpower to mimic the scents of other insects using pheromones. It's like they're putting on a scent disguise to fool predators into thinking they're something they're not and protect themselves from becoming lunch. Imagine being a hungry predator sniffing around for your next meal when suddenly you catch a whiff of what smells like a fellow predator. You think to yourself, better not mess with that, could be trouble. Little do you know, it's actually just a clever caterpillar pulling off a pheromone-powered magic trick. And here's where it gets really interesting. Caterpillars don't just use pheromone mimicry to deter predators, they can also use it to their advantage by attracting allies. Some caterpillars emit pheromones that mimic those of ants or wasps, tricking these insects into thinking they're part of the gang. It's like they're throwing a secret pheromone party and only the cool kids are invited. Using pheromone mimicry to outsmart predators and make friends in high places, nature is full of surprises. African bullfrog caretaker fathers. In the African savanna, as you wander and come across a shallow pool of water filled with tadpoles, you might witness a remarkable sight. Male African bullfrogs standing guard over their precious offspring, a role typically associated with mothers in the animal kingdom. In the world of African bullfrogs, it's the dads who step up to the plate when it comes to taking care of the kids. These dedicated fathers have a big role to play in keeping their offspring safe from predators and making sure they make it through those tricky tadpole days. So what exactly does bullfrog fatherhood entail? Well, it's pretty much a full-time job. Male African bullfrogs are always on duty, keeping a close eye on their eggs and tadpoles. They use their strong hind legs to dig channels in the mud, keeping the water nice and oxygenated for their little ones. And when it comes to defending the family, these dads don't mess around. They'll fend off other frogs and even take on bigger predators like birds and snakes. These bullfrog dads aren't just protectors, they're also caregivers. They'll let tadpoles hitch a ride on their backs for extra safety, turning themselves into makeshift life rafts. Talk about going above and beyond for your kids. And get this, these dad frogs don't clock out after a few days. They stick around for weeks, tirelessly watching over their offspring until they're ready to venture out on their own. Now that's what I call dedication. Giraffe necking battles. An epic showdown on the vast plains of the African savanna. Giraffe necking battles are a unique form of combat among these majestic creatures, where males use their long necks and powerful heads to assert dominance and win the affection of females. It begins with a friendly, or not so friendly, sparring match between two male giraffes who size each other up and engage in a series of necking maneuvers. They'll swing their heads like battering rams, aiming to land blows on their opponent's neck or body. But they are actually not trying to injure each other during these battles. Instead, they're engaged in a high-stakes game of dominance, where the winner earns the right to mate with females and pass on his genes to the next generation. And let's not forget about the spectators. Female giraffes are known to gather around and watch these necking battles unfold, seemingly evaluating the contenders and choosing the strongest and most impressive males as potential mates. But the drama doesn't end there. Sometimes, these battles can escalate into full-on fights, with giraffes delivering powerful blows and even knocking each other to the ground. It's a spectacle that's both thrilling and slightly surreal, as these towering creatures engage in what can only be described as a giraffe-style wrestling match. And with that, the next time you're lucky enough to witness a giraffe necking battle on the African plains, there's no need to ask what the neck is going on. Boxer crab anemone boxing. Get ready to step into the ring with the boxer crab and witness a battle unlike any other. It's time for a showdown of epic proportions known as boxer crab anemone boxing. Boxer crabs have evolved a unique and ingenious defense mechanism. They wield stinging anemones in their claws, like a pair of boxing gloves, using them as both weapons and shields against predators. It's like they're gearing up for a boxing match on the reef. These anemones aren't just for show. In a mesmerizing display of agility and precision, the boxer crab engages in a delicate dance, swinging its anemone-tipped claws with lightning-fast reflexes. With each jab and hook, it delivers a powerful sting to any would-be attacker foolish enough to challenge it. And the best part? Boxer crab anemone boxing isn't just about survival. It's also about style. Some boxer crabs are known to decorate their anemones with bits of coral or shell, adding a touch of flair to their formidable weaponry. The unique partnership between the boxer crab and its anemone buddies is truly remarkable, showcasing the incredible adaptability and cooperation found in the underwater world. Squirrel burying fake nuts. Let's uncover the clever antics of squirrels as they engage in a nutty behavior that'll leave you scratching your head. What's this behavior, you may ask? Squirrels are masterful planners when it comes to storing food for the future. They meticulously bury nuts in various locations, relying on their keen memory to remember where each treasure is hidden. But here's where the fake nuts come into play. They're like decoys, thrown in to confuse potential thieves or eavesdroppers who might be watching and trying to steal their stash. So, as the squirrels go about their burying business, they strategically mix in some fake nuts with the real ones, creating a kind of nutty treasure hunt for anyone who dares to follow in their footsteps. It's like they're playing a game of hide and seek with their food, and only they know the secret hiding spot. Deep sea anglerfish parasitic mating. When it comes to mating, anglerfish have a rather unconventional approach. You see, in the deep sea dating scene, it's the males who are on the lookout for love, and they're willing to go to extreme lengths to find it. Male anglerfish are much smaller than their female counterparts, and they lack the distinctive lure that the females use to attract prey. Instead, they rely on their keen sense of smell to seek out potential mates. Once they find a female, they latch onto her body using their specialized jaws, forming what's known as a parasitic mating pair. Once the male attaches himself to the female, he essentially becomes a permanent fixture. Over time, his body fuses with hers, and he loses his eyes, fins, and other organs until he's nothing more than a small lump of tissue. Talk about commitment. But while it may sound like a one-sided relationship, this parasitic mating strategy actually benefits both parties. The male provides the female with a constant supply of sperm, ensuring that she can fertilize her eggs whenever she's ready to spawn. In return, he receives a steady supply of nutrients from her bloodstream, allowing him to survive in the harsh deep sea environment. The anglerfish's bizarre appearance and unique adaptations make it one of the most intriguing creatures of the deep sea. Bird of paradise courtship rituals. Found primarily in the rainforests of New Guinea and nearby islands, bird of paradise species are renowned for their stunning plumage and elaborate courtship displays. These feathered heartthrobs aren't shy about showing off their flashy feathers and flamboyant dance moves. From the magnificent plumes of the King of Saxony to the dazzling hues of the superb bird of paradise, each species has its own unique style that's sure to turn heads. While the males may be the ones strutting their stuff, it's the ladies who hold all the cards. That's right, the females are the ultimate judges of these courtship displays. They watch closely as the males bust a move, carefully evaluating their performance to determine who's worthy of their affection. These courtship rituals are no joke, they're serious business. Finding the perfect mate is essential for ensuring the survival of the species, so these birds pull out all the stops to impress. They're like nature's own fashion designers, strutting their stuff in the rainforest runway. They remind us that in the animal kingdom, sometimes survival isn't just about being the strongest or the fastest. Sometimes it's about being the most captivating performer. We've now reached the end of our adventure exploring fascinating animal behaviors. Thanks again for joining us on this awesome ride. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more incredible content, and let us know your favorite animal behaviors in the comments below. Until next time, stay wild.